Hi, you're listening to Behind the Bib podcast with Lisa Watkins. Real talk for every runner. Hi, greetings and salutations, and welcome to another episode of Behind the Bib, where we talk about every pace, every runner, and every story. I'm your host, Lisa Watkins, and today we are talking about the race, the coveted qualifying time, the coveted finish time. We're talking about the most major of all of the Abbott majors. That race is Boston. And if you're in the running world, you don't even have to say the Boston Marathon. If you say Boston, everybody knows what you're talking about. But we're going to take a little bit of a different take on Boston. I think a lot of the content out there right now is focusing on the finishers, which I've got it. That's fine. That's totally fine. We talk about winners. It is a race after all. But I am actually going to talk about the last finisher at Boston this year. Let me qualify that. The last official finisher for Boston this year. But before that, let's get into the race recap from this weekend. So this past weekend, I did the Cookie Dash 5K put on by Huntsville Track Club. It was hosted at Huntsville Middle School over the mountain there. And this is one of the few races when they actually say that it's fast and flat. Pretty much was. It was pretty much fast and flat. Now, fast is a relative term for all of you out there. And what one person's fast is another person's slow. What one person's threshold pace is may be another person's quote-unquote party pace. So just keep that in mind when you're out there running, because it's all about personal best effort. And if you're giving your personal best effort, that's all you can possibly give, right? The course was fast and flat. There was a little hill coming out of the chute there, but other than that, it ran through the Hampton Cove neighborhood back there. And it was really pretty. The nice thing, the really neat thing about this race is that they asked the community to donate cookies. And when I say cookies, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of cookies. There's a lot of cookies. And I think they even had record participation this year. I think I saw a statistic somewhere. It was like 900 and something runners, maybe. So congratulations to Huntsville Track Club. Looks like that was a very successful run. And it was pretty warm, though, and so I think it was about 84, 85 degrees by the time I got out there. And I will say, this is funny, I actually signed up for the 5K because it's one of the few afternoon races that Huntsville puts on. So I actually am not a morning person. There's no part of me that is a morning person, but I get up and I do the runs and all of the races in the morning. How I wish I was a morning person, but I'm not. And so race morning, I'm there at the start line every time, but I'm not super happy about it. These afternoon races are more my jam. Night races are awesome, especially in the summer when it gets really hot and humid and sticky here in the South. So this race started at 4 p.m. and which is, let's see, so it was in April. So 4 p.m., it's still like an okay temperature. 84, 85 is kind of pushing it, for comfortable running weather. My optimal running weather is like 55 degrees and partly cloudy with a slight breeze, right? So my optimal feel is like if I'm a little cool at the start and I'm like, ooh, maybe I need another layer, that's perfect, because once I get running, it's like the perfect running temperature. So it was a little warmer than that. And I say all of this because I didn't actually eat any of the cookies because I couldn't. I had gotten like too hot, too overheated, and when I do that, I just don't feel like eating really. And so I didn't eat any of the cookies. I just grabbed some water. I actually grabbed a Coke. I have found, what's really funny? My running buddies, Christy and Michelle, introduced me to this a few years ago. When it gets hot and humid and after your long runs, there is something about just a normal full sugar Coke that is like super cold. I had no idea. It's like the most fantastic recovery. I don't know if it's official or anything like that. Like, people use chocolate milk and all these fancy recovery drinks and things like that. But I just grabbed a Coke, and it was actually wonderful because I had gotten too hot, and the Christmas, I guess it just kind of settled my stomach some. Don't know why it works. I just know that it works. And so just an ice cold Coca-Cola. How about that? All right, so the cookie dash was fun. I would 100% do it again. This is the t-shirt. They did not hand out medals. The t-shirt is super cute. It says Cookie Dash 5K, April 19th, 2025. Has a little image of a cookie on there for those of you who are not actually watching it, and I'm describing it for you. Shout out to Cheryl for pointing that out to me. So I'm trying to do a better job, Cheryl. The cookie dash, it has like orange and like a light orange and then a green stripes on it, and the little cookie guy has like some sunglasses, and he's running, and he's super cute, and he's got a trucker hat on, and that's important. And it says Huntsville Track Club on the top of the trucker hat. That's important because the age group awards for the Cookie Dash this year were trucker hats. How cute is that? And shout out to Koala Kate Watkins, who actually took home her age group award this year. And you might have listened on a previous episode that I ran with Kate on the Dueling Banjos preview. I guess it's been maybe a month ago now that we did the preview together with a few other folks doing that 5K up the mountain and 10K down the backside. So that's where I met her. Congratulations, Kate, on your age group award. All right, and a shout out to those that were actually at the Cookie Dash. I'm sorry I didn't get to catch up with you. So I heard Sasha, you were there with a sick kiddo. Sorry that you were there with a sick kiddo. I'm sure he really wanted to do the race, and you probably did too. And then Melanie was there. If you remember Melanie Trailer, she did the Run the Cove. It was her first half marathon. And so I think she has been bitten by the bug, drank all the Kool-Aid. And so Melanie, next time I'm going to look for you, okay? All right. Now the headlines right now, everybody's talking about Boston, right? It's the biggest race of the year. It is the Super Bowl. It is the Stanley Cup. It's the NASCAR championship. It's the Augusta, like you can tell I'm not a golf person, right? So you get what I'm meaning. It is one of the biggest races of the year. It reveals all of the forerunners in the running community coming up, and people to keep your eye on maybe for the next Olympics. But today I do not want to talk about all of the finishers. I will tell you who the finishers are because I think I'm like compelled to do that. I'm going to read this. If it sounds like I'm reading, there's a reason. That's because I'm having to read it. And you're just going to have to forgive me for that. The men's wheelchair division. Marcel Hug from Switzerland finished that in 1:15:33. The women's wheelchair division was Manuela Schar, don't know how to pronounce her name. She finished in 1:35:14, also from Switzerland. In the men's open division, that was taken by John Career of Kenya with a finish time of 2:04:45. And the women's open division was taken by Sharon Laketti, also of Kenya, with a time of 2:17:22. That was a new course record this year. So those were the finishers, but what I want to talk about today is really where my heart is. And that is a story that I read about. Her name is Rayna Burke, and she's the last official finisher of the Boston Marathon. And what this means is this year, so I need to back up and explain it. So a lot of marathons will say they all have cutoff times, right? So they can't be open for like 24 hours unless you're doing an ultra out west or something like that. A lot of marathons will have a cutoff time based on when the last the last starting runner crosses the start line. So if I say I cross the start line at noon and I'm the last starting runner, the runners on the course have 6 hours. In Boston's case, they have 6 hours from the time that the last runner starts to finish the race. Well, that was confusing for a lot of runners because if you've already started and you're 4 or 5 miles in and you don't actually know when the last runner crossed the start line so that you can track to see if you're on time to make the official results. Now the official results matter. They keep the finish line up and everything, and everybody gets a medal. But the official time matters because if you're going for that, like the 6 stars of the 6 major world marathons, you have to have an official time. And people train like all year long for this. People come from all over the world to do these, to do these Abbott majors, which means there's a lot of time, there's a lot of money, there's a lot of effort. People take off tons of vacation just to go and do this race. And so having that official finish time, if you're going after those 6 stars, is pretty dang important. And so this year was the first time that Boston instated a new policy. And they just said there's a 5:30 p.m. cutoff time for official result. And you need that official result in order to get your 6 stars. So all of that is backstory to why Rayna Burke, even though she wasn't the last finisher, she is the last official finisher because she crossed the line at 5:29 p.m., just under the new 5:30 p.m. cutoff time. I say that because Rayna's story is pretty powerful, and it's a powerful reminder that every finisher matters, right? And so one of the things I wanted to come on here and do is Runner's World posted a great article about her and about her, crossing the finish line and being the last official finisher. And I know people are not supposed to do this, go into the comments. And I was actually expecting, when I thought of the idea for this episode, I was expecting to compare and contrast the positive comments to the negative comments on this story, because you have the trolls out there, you have the gatekeepers out there. But what I found was something completely different. And I was very, very surprised, and it made my heart happy. And this is why. I'm going to read you some of them. From Cressa Stone, congratulations to everyone who finished, no matter the time. Congrats to this woman. If you start the race and move your body 26.2 miles by any means and cross the finish line, your time should be recorded as official and you should be celebrated. Finishing is greater than the finish time. Go girl, you did amazing, Rayna. So happy for you. No matter the time, no matter the pace, that's solid. Congratulations to all the finishers. Incredible. Any finish is better than did not start or did not try. How about that one? That's one of my favorite ones. And whether she qualified or raised money, amazing. Both entryways. Well done. Finishing a marathon is a tremendous feat, whether you are first or last. Congratulations. Whatever the time, 26.2 is still 26.2, and that should be respected. She did. She dared. So happy for you. She's a rock star. Everyone should be celebrated. Good for her. Congratulations, everyone who ran today. So, let's see. I didn't count the comments, and the comments don't have like a count on them. But there's like 2 or 3 or maybe 4 like negative comments about getting in via the amount of time, things like that. But overall, it actually is supremely positive. And that made me so happy because it's true. 26.2 miles is hard no matter what the pace. And she trained for a very long time, I'm sure, to be able to do this. And congratulations to her. I was also reading one of Suzanne Swift's posts after she was, and congratulations, by the way, Suzanne. She went and did Boston this year, returned because she was actually there during the Boston bombing. And she posted a beautiful sentiment. She was on the plane and listening to a couple. And I was reading through this post and I thought, wow, that's really beautiful. And I wanted to share it with you guys as well. It starts off with, what makes you a real runner? On my flight to Boston, I overheard a conversation. I wasn't eavesdropping, but they were talking loud. It was the perfect runner conversation. I wish I could have recorded it. I couldn't see what the people looked like, but I was quickly developing an image in my mind. Runner girl, although she doesn't think she's a runner. Are you going to Boston for the marathon? Runner guy. Yes, are you? Runner girl. That's amazing. You're amazing. I could never do Boston. I'm not a real runner. I run a couple of half marathons and one full marathon, but I'm really slow. That's amazing that you're running Boston. Is this your first? What's your goal? Runner guy. I ran last year. I hope to break 3 hours. Runner girl went on to interview him. What shoes do you wear? Do you carry a water bottle? What's your nutrition? Do you train with a group? It was a great conversation, and it really made me think about this girl. She didn't think she was a real runner. She had run a marathon and half marathons, but she thought because she was slower, she wasn't a real runner. We all have images in our mind of what a real runner might look like. But the truth is, if you lace up your shoes, walk outside, or get on a treadmill, you are a runner. There's no such thing as a fake runner. We just all have different goals, ambitions, responsibilities, etc. in life, and that can change over time. Both of these people ran with groups and found running with groups helped them either stay motivated or run faster. By the end of the flight, I had an image of what these real runners looked like in my mind. I had only heard their voices, but I thought these two people are going to go on a date. They really hit it off, which kind of brings to mind the conversation that I had with Jeff and Jerry last week about how many people meet at the run group at the pub run. So that was pretty funny. So they had so much in common despite their differing abilities. I'll leave that there as I don't know what happened after the flight. But she goes on to say, I want you to know that if you try to run, walk, or jog, you are a runner. Being a real runner isn't about pace or miles, but about movement. If you want to be a runner, you can. Slow and steady, or fast and furious, whatever fits your style. At the Boston Marathon, there are very fast people, unbelievably fast people. There are also charity runners who run for other reasons. And by the way, they raise tens of thousands of dollars. Then there are what they call everyday runners, like some of us who aim for a goal to qualify and run Boston. We are all runners, one and the same, reaching for new goals. She goes on to say, congratulations to all that qualified and ran Boston's. Congratulations and thank you to the charity runners who raise money and awareness for good causes. We are proud of each and every one of the real runners. And finally, she goes on to say, one thing about us runners is that we want others to love running too, as much as we do. So come join us, fast or slow. Suzanne, thank you for that beautiful sentiment. She's absolutely right. Fast or slow, whatever body that you're walking around in, if you run, you're a runner, you're welcome, and you belong here. So let's celebrate every finish, not just the fast ones. Tell me if you have Boston dreams or what your favorite race day memories are. Tag Behind the Bib on Instagram or shoot me a message. I'd actually love to share your stories on future episodes. Speaking of future episodes, I have got some good ones lined up for you. I'm so excited. I'm going to be interviewing a runner that completed his first ultra marathon, and also going to be talking to Rocket City runners. And I've got several more interviews lined up after that. So it's going to be exciting. I'm really enjoying this, and I hope that you're enjoying it as well. So let's talk about some upcoming races in the Huntsville/North Georgia area. So on April 25th, you have the Alabama Run for the Fallen. That's in Huntsville. And on April 26th, you have the David McCannon Memorial 5K Run. Also on April 26th, you have the Arbor Day 5K in the Huntsville Botanical Gardens. And then April 27th is the Teardrop 5K, 10K, and half marathon. That's in Chatsworth, Georgia. I'm actually going over to Georgia to do that one, and I'm going to be doing an episode about that in the future. Should be fun. And then coming up in May, can you believe May is already here? Girls on the Run North Alabama 5K, Huntsville, Alabama. And then on May 10th, if you're into trail running, Redstone Arsenal is hosting a Redstone 25K on their trails out there. I do believe that you need Arsenal access for this one. And then on May 11th, we have the 4th annual Risky Run. That's out in Madison, Alabama. And then, of course, coming up on May 26th is the run that everybody is looking forward to. That's the Cotton Row 10K, 5K, and 1 mile fun run walk. So if you're doing that 10K and it's the first time you do it, I would highly recommend that you go out and preview that one because it has got a hell of a hill in it. So you just need to go out. Actually, the whole course on the front side of the 10K is pretty much all uphill. There's a gradual uphill and then there's a big uphill. And then the backside, though, is pretty much all downhill with a finish that is pretty fast and flat. So if you are doing the Cotton Row 10K and you haven't done it before, I would recommend doing a preview run for that one. All of these races, I imagine, would be pretty pace inclusive. I will say that the Teardrop Half Marathon in Chatsworth, Georgia, has a 3-hour cutoff, but which equates to like a 13:30 type pace. So, but it's pretty, it's downhill, and it's my first downhill race. So I'm going to let you know about that and how pace inclusive it truly is. If you're out there and you're listening, you're wondering if you should call yourself a runner, the answer is yes. It took me a long time to call myself a runner. And I had run many 5Ks, some 10Ks. I had done a couple of half marathons. And it wasn't until I ran my first marathon, probably after that actually, that I started calling myself a runner. I had these preset beliefs that nobody told me about, that if I didn't look a certain way, or if I didn't run a certain pace, or if I took walk breaks, and you all know how I love my intervals, right? I wasn't a real runner. Well, I now know that to be completely false. I am a runner, and so are you. Check out Behind the Bib on Instagram, Behind the Bib on Facebook, and Behind the Bib podcast on YouTube, where you can see this crazy mug on a video. Don't know why you would do that, but it's out there if you want to. Thanks for being here. Let's keep showing up for each other, whether you're first or last or somewhere in between. And I'll see you next time we're Behind the Bib. Take care. Bye. You've been listening to Behind the Bib with your host, Lisa Watkins. Real talk for every runner.